One of the great features of our symposia is our inclusion of patient speakers who very graciously give their time to share with us their perspectives and their journey with various diseases. So Emily Lee is a fourth-year undergraduate student at Kwantlen Polytechnic University studying psychology. And she's very generously agreed to come speak to us about her experience as a beta thalassemia patient. So Emily, welcome. Thank you very much.
Is this what's used to press? Okay. Or the arrow key?
Yeah, it's just a laser pointer.
Okay, cool. Thanks for having me. So I guess we'll go from the very beginning. I was diagnosed with beta thalassemia when I was 6 months old. Both my parents just felt like there was something not quite right happening. So they took me to a hospital in Calgary, I'm not sure which one. But I was officially diagnosed at 6 months. And I actually come from a small town in the Rockies. I don't know if anyone's heard of Fernie. It's a skiing place. Yeah. So I lived there for my early childhood, but that also meant that treatment was kind of far, and I would have to go to Calgary every single month. So blood transfusions would occur every 3 to 4 weeks. I think when I was younger, it was maybe 2 to 3 weeks. This is a photo. This is the only photo, I think, of a blood transfusion. I'm not quite sure what this mascot is, but anyways, this was one of the many blood transfusions I've had as a kid, and I will say that these journeys were really time consuming. Not only did we have to get to Calgary, but we also had to spend basically the whole day there and then come back home. So for me as a kid, it's kind of nice. I get to miss a day of school, I guess. But for my parents, it was a huge burden because they would also have to take time out of their day to take me. And I think it was spoken about earlier, the iron chelation part was the most burdensome. So as a child, I would have iron chelation overnight, so I wouldn't have to take it with me anywhere. But as I became older, I needed larger doses, which required longer times. So I think it went from 10 hours at night to then 12 hours. And then it became 23 hours because my iron kept increasing exponentially as I got older. It was also because I wasn't that good at doing my iron chelation. So that's why the dosage kept increasing. So I came here when I was about 6 or 7, and I was under the care of Dr. John Wu. Love him. But to me, he was a second father figure, and I really adore him. And he's the one who actually really pushed hard for me to go through with the CRISPR study, because the bone marrow transplant was the only cure at the time. And unfortunately, my sister was not a match for me. So it seemed like the CRISPR study was the only way out. He had proposed it to me when I was about 15, and I will say 15 was a very tumultuous time. So I was incredibly apprehensive to agree, and I remember there was actually another patient in the clinic, and I remember when he was told about the study, he was really excited, and he really wanted to do it, but I don't think he got to do it, to my knowledge. So every day I feel so lucky that I was able to be part of the study. I digress. So we will move on to a little bit before the CRISPR treatment. So actually, I'll rewind. Before this, I had to get my eggs harvested to preserve my fertility if I do want to have children in the future, because of the mild chemotherapy that would, clear out my existing bone marrow. And so I went through about 2 rounds of egg harvesting, and I actually took time off of work for that because I didn't realize how intensive it would be, I guess. There's a lot of hormone injections, and actual egg retrieval is quite not so fun. So then we come to the actual stem cell collection. I regretfully did not take more photos of the whole CRISPR process. I think I was just so deep into it, I didn't really think to take any photos. So I only have this, and this is just the apheresis machine. And the stem cell collection was done in November of 2019. And this was pretty, to me, a lackluster experience. It was cool, but at the same time, it felt similar to a blood transfusion appointment, although I had to stay overnight, a couple nights to have it done. And the actual CRISPR infusion happened March 2020. So I was admitted to Children's in March of 2020, which is also when COVID happened. So perfect time. I was in Children's for a total, I think, of 40 some odd days. And I had to be in isolation for most of that as well because of my immune system being destroyed by the mild chemo that I had previously. And because it was COVID times, I also was very limited to the amount of visitors I could have. So as exciting as this whole treatment was, I can say that the experience in the hospital during that time was very lonely, because I was only allowed 2 visitors and they had to be the same people. I was kind of looking forward to my friends coming to visit me, and they did initially, but then they weren't allowed to. And this month actually marks 6 years of being transfusion independent, so I haven't had a blood transfusion since April of 2020. So that's pretty exciting. And I guess I'll talk about my life currently. So after this treatment, and it's been successful so far, I haven't had any other complications really. I just wanted to share this photo because this is Dr. Wu, love him. And so now I'm able to focus more time on school and continuing to work. Like Hugh said earlier, I'm pursuing my BA in psychology and then a minor in counseling and anthropology. Also, a very large part of my life in the past 5 years or so, I'm able to travel a lot more. So before the whole treatment, I wasn't able to travel as freely because the iron chelation required a lot of equipment, and it would require me to request extra supplies and whatnot from the pharmacy. And to me, that was like a very large burden. Also, the medication had to be refrigerated, so I couldn't go very far. But these 2 photos are from February of 2024 in El Salvador. So another part of being transfusion independent now is that I'm able to actually involve myself in more like physical activity. Before and when I was transfusion dependent, it was difficult to do a lot of physical activity just because I'm basically anemic half the time, and after about 3 weeks after a blood transfusion, I'd feel really tired. So this is a photo. At the top, of a volcano. There's like several volcanoes in El Salvador, but we climbed one, and I felt like it marked a very poignant time in my life where I could actually do this and not feel, it was exhausting, but it didn't feel like I was dying or anything. More travel. Went to Universal Studios with my friends, and then also last year I also went to El Salvador. So I think after the CRISPR treatment, basically I've become, there's a lot more freedom in my life. I'm actually able to do the things I want to do, and I'm not bound to having to get a blood transfusion every month. I'm not bound to getting iron chelation done. I think I've been off chelation for quite a while now, maybe like 4 some odd years, I feel like. So it feels really liberating to actually exist as a person who is not defined by like a disease. And I feel like for most of my like early adolescence, that's what defined me. And I remember explaining to classmates that I had to be away this day from school because I was in the hospital. And to me that didn't sound dramatic, but a lot of the time they were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" But to me it was like an everyday occurrence, and it didn't occur to me that wasn't super normal to be in the hospital every single month. But basically that's all I have to say. All I can say is that my life is better, like infinitely better, and I couldn't imagine my life right now if I was to be transfusion dependent. Yeah.
Just before she goes, Emily, thanks so much. That was just absolutely fantastic. It's just, it's nice to see success stories in medicine. So good for all the doctors. It was nice that John Wu was involved. John was a longtime member of the Center for Blood Research. He's since retired from this job anyway. So I know that he's near and dear to many people like you. I'm just curious, your hemoglobin and your iron status, do you know what that is?
I don't know the numbers, but I know that they're a reasonable level.
Good. Reasonable level sounds great. I love that. You know, is that how you guys report it now?